It's almost the 4th of July, and to me, that always signals fireworks and parades and cookouts with family, and just such a fun time of the summer that I always look forward to. This is the layout I came up with, inspired by Small Town America 4th of July celebration. And I used the collection called God Bless America by Carta Bella papers, and I just love, love, love this collection with all the red, whites, and blues, and it had the White House with the flags in front of it and all the plaid and the stars. I was just so in love with it, and I knew I wanted to use this for this layout. What really inspired me for this layout was actually quilting patterns. I love the little squares of quilts with the patterns, so here I'm taking a square piece of paper and cutting out tiny squares of the different patterns of papers. So here I'm using a red and white striped one, and then also the pattern on the back. It really is necessary for me to have some type of template whenever I'm cutting something out because I have such a hard time making things even. So I love having this white square template just to ensure that all the squares I'm cutting out are the same sizes because I want it to look uniform and even just to give it a polished look. And here are all the squares I cut out. I love, love, love all the patterns, like I said, all the red, whites, and blues, and I just think it looks so festive. And I always get so excited to scrapbook and so much more inspired when I'm using a cute collection. So when I saw this, I knew I had to have it, and it just makes scrapbooking so much more fun. I also thought it would give a little more detail besides just having plain squares. So I'm using these fun scissors with kind of a scallopy edge to them just to make the edges of all the squares a little more dimensional and give it some fun shapes. And also I think it makes it look a little bit more quilty because all the quilts that I have, you can kind of see that they're not straight squares where they stitch them at. They kind of have fun edges to them, so I wanted mine to look the same. Now I'm just taking this plain blue piece of paper and placing the pattern squares that I cut down onto it in little rows, just like you would see on a quilted blanket. I'm laying these down without any rhyme or reason. I'm just trying to make sure the colors look good together and are spread out so you can see a lot of the patterns in different areas. I am leaving some areas blank, as you can see, because that's where I plan on placing photos, so I figured it was useless to place a square down because you won't be able to see it under the photos. Once I have everything laid out how I want it to, I'm just taking some double-sided adhesive and securing the pieces of pattern paper down so they don't move. Later in this video, you'll see that I'm going to sew them down so it looks more like a quilt. But by taping them down, it just secures them and will make sure that they don't move while they're under the sewing machine. Fourth of July is one of my favorite holidays because it's during the summer, the weather is always nice. It's just a fun time to get with family and have cookouts and go to parades and see fireworks. And it's just such a traditional holiday for my family. We always end up doing the same thing, but I think that's what makes it really special and something that I look forward to every single year. So let me know in the comments below what your 4th of July tradition is and what you like to do. And once all the squares are all taped down, I'm going to go ahead and turn on my sewing machine and get to sewing. While I'm sewing, I'm just going around the edges of the squares just to make it look like a quilted blanket does. And I'm just doing a really simple stitch here, nothing too crazy, and you can see I wasn't even super even with it. There are crooked lines, and I think that's what makes it super fun and handmade, so I don't worry about it too much. The photo I'm scrapbooking is of the Little White House, which was a historical landmark that I visited in Key West, Florida, and it was actually a house that a lot of US presidents, including Harry S. Truman, stayed in, and it was built in the late 1800s and was used as a meeting place and vacation home, and it was so interesting to learn about the history, but I also thought it was super beautiful, and I thought it matched this collection perfectly with the vintage feel and all the American flags hanging off of it, so I knew I wanted to include it in this layout. And this collection also came with a page full of stickers, so you could see I used the flag border to put under the photo, and I thought it correlated really well with the photo because it's the same American flags that are hanging off of the house itself. So I love finding little correlating elements like that I can find in the picture and put in the layout itself. So I'm also using this ephemera pack, and I wanted something in the corner because I'm only using one picture here. I wanted something else that would be really eye-catching, so I really liked this piece of paper ephemera with the flowers on it and the little circle that says red, white, and blue. I also love this flag element, and I thought it would be a perfect square to put as a part of the little quilting patterns that I created, so I'm just placing that right there. Another fun thing I like to do during my layouts is make little 3D elements, and I think this way it gives things a lot more dimension and kind of draws the eye to look there. So I'm just taking this sticker that says 1776 and putting it on a foam adhesive. That way it sort of pops up from the other ephemera pieces that I put down. And lastly, I'm just putting a small little title here along with firecrackers to decorate the page a little bit more, and are just super fun elements that I really liked. I'm also decorating the background a little bit with tiny stars. I don't want it to be super busy, so I'm just using some solid color stars here just to add some extra detail. And this was the final layout. I had so much fun making it, and I think it turned out really cute. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful 4th of July.